Hello, how are you today? Oh, I'm good, thanks. I was going to sit on the porch to read to you today, but it's really cold and there's a really cool wind blowing and whistling the trees. So I thought I'd sit in my favourite place to sit when it's cold and I want to be cozy, in bed. Do you like sitting in bed when it's cold? Especially when reading. And I have my pug here. She likes to sit on the bed if we're sitting on the bed. So if you hear some strange snorts or waffles or jumping, it's the pug. Okay, today we're going to read The 7 Silly Eaters. Jace chose this. It's one of my favourites. Thank you for choosing it, Jace. And it's by Mary Ann Hoberman with pictures by Marla Frazee. Let's get started. Here we are, outside a newly built house. Not so long ago, they say, a mother lived, just like today. Mrs. Peters was her name. Her little boy was named the same. Now, Peter was a perfect son in every way, except for one. When Peter was just 1 year old, he didn't like his milk served cold. He didn't like his milk served hot. He liked it warm, and he would not drink it if he was not sure it was the proper temperature. There's little Peter sitting there saying, no, no, no. But Mrs. Peters didn't mind. She was a mother sweet and kind. And when his milk spilled on the floor, she patiently prepared some more. She'd take the bottle from the shelf and chuckle softly to herself, "What a silly sort of eater is my darling baby Peter." There she is. Now, when Peter had not yet turned 2, another baby sweet and new was born. Dear Lucy, small and fair, with big blue eyes and curly hair. But long before this child was grown, she had opinions of her own, of what she'd eat and what she'd not. She hated milk, both cold and hot, and warm, worst of all. Instead, whenever Lucy dear was fed, she bellowed for pink lemonade, not from a can. Oh no, homemade. There's the family. Can you see them gathered on the edge of the pond? Little Lucy's bellowing for her lemonade. But Mrs. Peters didn't mind. She squeezed each lemon to its rind while mopping milk up from the floor and patiently preparing more. She'd take the lemons from the shelf and giggle softly to herself. What a silly pair of eaters are Lucy dear and Peter Peters. Look at this mother squeezing those lemons. Look at those children. See? What a pair of fusspots. Now Lucy grew and Peter grew till he was 3 and she was 2. And who was 1? Why, little Jack, with eyes so brown and hair so black. Oh, a happy baby, never cross. But all he'd eat was apple sauce. Peeling apples by the pound, Mrs. Peters faintly frowned. She'd take the apples from the shelf and murmur weakly to herself, what a silly bunch of eaters are Lucy, Jack and Peter Peters. There she is, peeling those apples. She's a patient mummy. Peter, Lucy and young Jack had another brother, Mac. Mac was charming, round and plump. But if his oatmeal had a lump, Mac would dump it on the cat. Mrs. Peters hated that. But since she loved her children 4, she'd strain the oatmeal 2 times more. She'd take it from the pantry shelf and mumble sadly to herself, "What a foolish group of eaters. are all my precious little Peters. Before another year was through, who came along? Why, Mary Lou. Oh, she was a darling, sweet and bright, and had a healthy appetite. That is, as long as she was fed soft and squishy homemade bread. Oh my goodness, this is just becoming chaotic. Look at that. Poor Mrs. Peters, she's run off her feet. Poor Mrs. Peters got no rest, but still she did her very best. She'd take the flour from the shelf and mutter feebly to herself, "What a fussy bunch of eaters are all my lovely little Peters." A year rolled by, the children grew. Oh, they really are a splendid crew, sighed Mrs. Peters, pinning pins and diapering her brand new twins. Little sisters, quick and smart, impossible to tell apart, but Flo liked poached eggs and Fran liked fried, and if she mixed them up, they cried. Oh, look at that busy, 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 busy house, eh? Tired to the very bone, Mrs. Peters groaned a groan. Oh, she'd take the eggs down from the shelf and whisper weakly to herself, "Oh, what persnickety little eaters are all my 7 little Peters." Look at them. They're a busy family, aren't they? They sure are filling up that house. Now, time went by as time will do, and as it passed, the children grew. The problem was that as they grew, their appetites kept growing too, but not their choice of what to eat. Each child continued to repeat they wanted what they'd had before. The trouble was they wanted more. Oh, look at them all. Look at them demanding their special thing, their just right milk, their homemade lemonade, their apple sauce, their lumpless porridge, their soft and squishy homemade bread, and those twins with their eggs. Oh my goodness. Creamy oatmeal, pots of it, homemade bread and lots of it. Peeling apples by the peck, Mrs. Peters was a wreck. Ah, I can understand. She wiped her brow, and heaved a sigh. Another year was passing by. In fact, she realized with sorrow her birthday would arrive tomorrow. Drearily she shook her head, and wearily she went to bed. Left them all downstairs with Dad. She thought the children had forgot her special day, but they had not. At crack of dawn, they all began to carry out their secret plan. Mrs. Peters would be fed a birthday breakfast in her bed. A breakfast made of all the foods that kept them in such happy moods. There they all are, in their bedroom. They're clearly talking about just what they're going to do for their mum. So, while their weary mother slept, down the stairs the children crept, and from the cupboards and the shelves, happily they helped themselves. Cheerfully they chopped and stirred, preparing what they each preferred. But despite the pains they took, since nobody knew how to cook, to measure things or make them hot, the more they tried, the worse it got. It looks like they're actually going to create a dreadful mess for Mum for Mother's Day. Oh, no, her birthday, isn't it? I think that's even worse. First, Mac's oatmeal turned out lumpy, which made poor Mac turn grim and grumpy. In fact, the lumps got him so cross he dumped them in Jack's applesauce. This bothered Jack so much he threw it in the dough of Mary Lou, who tossed the mishmash that made straight into Lucy's lemonade. I don't think the children are coping very well with the chaos they've created. Mind you, it's hard work coping with chaos. It's okay to get a bit frazzled, I think. And that put her in such a huff. She poured the icky, sticky stuff into the double frying pan that held the eggs of Flo and Fran. Look at Lucy. Oh yes, she looks cross all right. Who flung the hodgepodge on the spot into the milk in Peter's pot. You see that? I don't think Peter was expecting that to land in his pot. Oh, but when they saw what they had done, oh, they wished they'd never begun. They'd hardly slept a wink that night, and still things hadn't turned out right. And even though they'd tried their best, it hadn't worked. They were depressed. They'd be in trouble too, unless they found some place to hide the mess. The oven seemed the perfect spot. They all forgot it was still hot. They stuck the pot inside, and then they all went back to bed again. I wonder what will happen. The clock struck 6, but on they slept. Meanwhile, their mother softly stepped down to the kitchen. Smelled a smell. What could it be? She couldn't tell. It smelled so good. She sniffed some more and opened up the oven door. She woke the children with her cries, and they all came running in surprise. And in the kitchen, what they found was Mrs. Peters dancing round. In the oven, no mistake, a pink and plump and perfect cake. That was good luck. And as their mother danced with glee, she cried, "A birthday cake for me! Oh, a birthday cake, still piping hot. Oh, to think I thought you'd forgot. Now tell me, please, how did you make such a pink and plump and perfect cake? So high and light and smooth as silk." "Well, it's smooth as silk from all my milk," said Peter. "Lucy said, it's pink from all my lemonade, I think, and from my apples," added Jack. "And my oatmeal made it soft," said Mac. "My bread dough too," said Mary Lou. Said Fran and Flo, "As for its size, it was our eggs that made it rise." Then everybody sniffed some more, and they danced around the kitchen floor. Can you see them all? They're all so happy that they've all helped to make this wonderful birthday treat. They put the cake upon a dish and lit the candles. "Make a wish," the children cried, "before you blow." And Mrs. Peters did just so. And what is more, her wish came true, as birthday wishes always do. There they are. Look at that. Oh, doesn't that look fun? And look at that magnificent cake. And from that day to this, 'tis said, the Peters family all is fed a single simple meal. Just one. A meal that's good for everyone. A meal on which they all agree, made from their secret recipe. They all take turns in mixing it. They all take turns in fixing it. It's thick to beat and quick to bake. It's fine to eat and fun to make. It's Mrs. Peters' birthday cake. There they all are eating it. The end. Okay, well, maybe you could go and do some baking, but don't make a mess, because messes are, pain to clean up. It's okay to make the mess, actually, but you've got to clean it up as well. And make sure you ask first, okay? Okay. Have a lovely day. Thank you for listening. Bye.